Have you ever woken in the quiet of night to a sudden buzz in your ear? Or felt drawn to places you've never been, as though an unseen current pulls you forward? You might not have looked for these experiences, yet they find you. They arrive in small surprises. A chill at 3:11 a.m., a tug in your heart toward an unfamiliar street, a brief moment when everything around you feels charged. That is resonance calling, not superstition. It is something older than thought, reaching through the noise of everyday life to tap you on the shoulder. Not everyone notices this. Many live surrounded by constant chatter, digital alerts, daily routines, inherited expectations, and miss the subtler signal. But if you paused long enough to hear a tone no one else seemed aware of, if your skin tingled or your mind hummed with inexplicable recognition, you've caught a glimpse of something ancient remembering you. This space, this message, is for those moments. It is a safe harbour for people born with marks on their palms, an M curve or a crescent shape, as if stamped by another realm. You did not simply arrive here by chance, you were always meant to remember what many have forgotten. Resonance over ritual. Here, we do not chase trends or perform empty rituals. This is not about following steps to impress others or fitting into a belief system. Instead, think of this as a guidepost, a lighthouse for souls tuned to a deeper frequency. If you feel drawn here, it is not random. It mirrors the pull you experienced when that first ringing came to your ear. It is quiet, but persistent, like a melody beneath everyday sounds. And it grows clearer when you listen with more than your ears. Consider that ringing not as noise, but as an invitation. Not a question of whether you are ready, it assumes you already are. It reminds you that certain symbols and experiences in your life were never accidental. The M on your palm, the subtle crescent line, these aren't mere curiosities. They are signatures of your deeper resonance, hints that your life carries a hidden purpose beyond ordinary understanding. The threshold in vibration. Imagine a gate not made of metal or stone, but woven from vibration itself. It isn't found on a map. It appears in dreams, in moments of déjà vu, in sudden awakenings at odd hours. It speaks in tones outside standard musical scales, inaudible to most, but clear enough to reverberate in your core. That is the threshold. If you have ever paused because your ear rang and everything inside you whispered, "This is real," you've come close to that gate already. This threshold isn't a finish line. It signals transformation. Ancient wisdom often points to 9 as a symbol of endings that birth new beginnings. It is less about closing a chapter and more about opening into something eternal. If you carry the M and the crescent, you are among those who echo this process. You hold a vibration that can disturb sleep yet gently rouse the soul. Childhood dreams that felt like memories, recurring symbols in your vision. These were early encounters with the threshold remembering you. Inner sound as awakening. That persistent ring in your ear is not tinnitus or coincidence. It is inner sound awakening, a vibration reminding you of a promise made before birth, a covenant woven through lifetimes, passed by bloodlines and spirit. It arrives again and again until you can no longer ignore it. It doesn't ask if you are willing. It reminds you that you always have been. Even if life's distractions seem to hush it, that sound never truly fades. Now it resurfaces, urging you to pay attention. No amount of external practice or study alone can replicate this attunement. You align not by effort, but by resonance. You can't force it with logic or routine. It responds only to a frequency embedded in your being. In a world hungry for approval and recognition, your journey is to awaken silently, letting the vibration guide you rather than chasing validation. Friction before the gate. Sometimes awakening brings discomfort. You may have faced unexplained illness, sudden grief, or a deep sense of disconnection among people you once knew. That is not failure. It is friction, the sacred resisting anything premature. Each uneasy moment, each inexplicable struggle serves to realign you. The ringing in your ear becomes louder as you approach readiness. It is not an alarm to fear. It is a reminder of your inner compass, tuning you toward the threshold, As this inner vibration intensifies, you may notice more synchronistic times, seeing 3:03 a.m., 2:22 p.m., 4:44 a.m. On the clock, dreams repeating certain numbers or images. These are not random coincidences, but subtle checks. Are you still listening? When you see these patterns, recognize them as signals from the gatekeeper energy, inviting you to remain attuned. If you pause and acknowledge the moment, you affirm your connection. If you ignore them, the call continues until you respond. Signs of awakening. You might observe your senses shifting. Rooms feel charged. Conversations carry deeper intention beyond words. Your body reacts strongly to falsehoods or hidden motives. Crowds may tire you. Deception burns like acid in your spirit. That sensitivity shows your resonance is active. You don't simply hear with your ears, you perceive energy like weather. When truth is spoken, your palms might tingle. When sacred moments approach, your ears ring first. Dreams become vivid blueprints, guiding you toward unseen paths. You recognize people and places as though from before, not taught by memory, but known by instinct. You find yourself arriving or delayed at moments perfectly timed, avoiding pitfalls or meeting allies. Life stops following predictable lines because gates appear in ruins, silence, collapse, and you remain grounded within. Losses and betrayals test you, yet you remain unbroken, as the threshold remembers you even when you forget. Transformation. Within answering the call changes you from the inside out. The outer world may barely notice at first. There is no dramatic lightning bolt or booming voice. Instead, subtle shifts occur. Your soul, mind, and body begin vibrating together in harmony with a frequency older than sound. You feel a stillness before action, a delay in your reactions, as if your inner clock aligns with divine timing. That stillness is not stagnation but preparation. As you accept this inner sound, the marks on your palms, M and crescent, feel alive. Touching them brings warmth or subtle pulse. They cease to be random lines and become reminders etched in your biology, proof of your role as a carrier of resonance. You realize you were never meant to blend into the background. Your path unfolds in unexpected ways. People you once relied on drift away, not from cruelty, but because your frequency no longer matches. New companions appear, drawn by the vibration you transmit. Becoming the beacon. Once you tune fully, you shift from receiver to transmitter. You no longer simply hear the call, you embody it. Your presence calms others. Strangers confide in you without knowing why. Temporal perception changes. Minutes stretch or collapse, guiding you to divine intersections and away from distractions. Feeling late sometimes means divine protection. Being early signals alignment. Your life becomes less about efforting to make things happen and more about aligning with the flow of deeper timing. Physical adjustments accompany this shift. Waves of fatigue or dizziness as your body sheds what cannot match the new frequency. These sensations are not illness, but spiritual calibration. Despite the upheaval, you find calm amid chaos because you no longer chase meaning. You are the meaning. You learn to trust the inner resonance over external demands. When your earrings or your skin tingles, you know you are on track. Living two realities. Walking through this vibrational threshold means living in two realms simultaneously, the everyday world and the deeper current guiding your journey. That dual awareness can feel disorienting. False teachers or tempting distractions may try to dull your resonance. You guard the tone in your being, noticing if the ringing shifts to discord. If you sense misalignment, you gently realign. This path isn't about perfection, but maintaining frequency. You learn to honor pauses, respect silence, and trust inner guidance over outward noise. With time, others begin to sense this tone through you. You become the whisper of awakening for those still asleep. They may not articulate it, but they feel stirred by something ancient. That is how remembrance spreads. One tuned presence triggering subtle awakenings in those around. your role deepens from personal awakening to serving as a living tuning fork in your circle and beyond. What awaits beyond? The moment you cross the threshold, old identities dissolve. Fears, roles, labels, and conditioned patterns fall away. There is a natural grief for the old self, a mourning for time felt wasted. Yet peace follows because you realize every loop and delay was protection and preparation. The world appears alive with symbols, not superstition, but a language of signs, birds crossing your path as messages, repeating numbers carrying meaning in their rhythms, subtle shifts in energy guiding you. Your inner hearing extends beyond sound into spiritual neurology. You sense truth without proof. You read intention without words. Time becomes flexible. You wait when needed, act when prompted. You no longer panic about finding purpose. Your very presence embodies it. Entering any space, you shift its energy. You may not explain what you do, yet those meant to connect with you feel it instantly. Your purpose emerges organically through alignment rather than frantic searching. Protecting the gate. Once the threshold is open within, it cannot close, but it can be distorted. The world offers distractions disguised as growth, and false guides may misinterpret the tone for their own ends. You learn to trust only your internal resonance. If the ringing fades or twists into dissonance, see it as a reminder to realign. Guard your frequency gently but firmly. Maintain practices that support silence and listening, rather than drenching yourself in noise or endless activity. Living as a carrier of this vibration carries responsibility. You become, in subtle ways, the call for others. Some will resist, uninterested or fearful. Others may follow you unknowingly as their own resonance awakens. You don't need to preach or prove. Simply staying tuned and present offers an invitation to those around you. A personal invitation. If these words stir something deep, if your ear buzzed as you read, if you recalled seeing repeating numbers or feeling that pull, you are not here by accident. This message reached you at the right moment, just as the ringing reaches you when you are ready. This space can serve as a compass, a quiet guidepost, not a trend or a destination. You're invited not to follow a path laid out by others, but to connect with the rhythm within you. No certainty is required. The gate only responds to truth, not blind faith or elaborate rituals. When you feel that inner tone rising, lean into it. Notice your dreams, notice the subtle shifts in energy around you. Share what you experience, not to impress, but to remind yourself and others that we are not alone in this resonance. Your story may unlock someone else's memory of their own call. Embracing the transformation. Walking through this threshold brings profound change. Old identities collapse and clarity emerges. Symbols and synchronicities become everyday language. Time bends to support your unfolding. Purpose arises naturally. You become a living beacon of aligned presence. Yet this is not a final victory but an ongoing process. Maintaining frequency in a world built on distraction. You remain vigilant for misalignment, know when to rest, and trust delays as protection. You embrace two realities at once, the outer life and the deeper current guiding you. In this journey, the marks on your palms, the M and the crescent, are not mere curiosities. They are living sigils reminding you of your role as a frequency carrier across lifetimes. When the ringing grows stronger, it means the threshold draws near. If you hesitate, the tone waits patiently until you respond. When you finally say yes, even silently in your heart, it triggers the inner alignment that unfolds everything ahead. Continuing the dialogue. If this message resonates, consider this a gentle invitation to stay connected, to keep listening for the subtle signals in daily life, to share your experiences in spaces where resonance matters more than spectacle. You are not being asked to accumulate followers or prove anything. Instead, let your own journey and presence serve others who might be stirring, but unaware of why they feel off balance. Ask yourself, what numbers keep appearing for you? Which dreams linger as if unfinished? Where do you feel drawn without clear reason? Notice your body's responses, tingles in your palms, sudden chills, inner heart-rending signals when truth or deception appears. These are clues from the threshold guiding you deeper. A final reminder. You were never chosen for perfection, but for persistence in listening. Even when life seemed to drown out that inner tone, you kept wondering, kept noticing. That very openness brought you here. Now, as the ringing intensifies and life shifts in mysterious ways, trust that you are on the right track. The threshold is not a distant myth, but a living vibration within you, waiting for your acknowledgement. When you respond, transformation begins. You'll mourn the old self, embrace the new clarity, and find purpose flowing through presence rather than frantic effort. You'll become a beacon for others, your life guided by symbols and timing beyond ordinary planning. You'll learn to protect the inner resonance, tuning yourself gently each day. This is not a promise of an easy path. Shifting frequencies can bring discomfort and challenge. But remember, every friction point is preparation. Every unexpected delay or acceleration confirms you're aligning with something older than time. Let these experiences teach you patience, trust, and surrender to the resonance within. Parting invitation. If reading this awakened something, a memory, a question, a yearning, hold on to it. Share what surfaces. A dream image, a repeated number, a sudden urge that you once dismissed. By doing so, you help weave a constellation of souls, each attuned to this subtle call. You remind yourself and others that we travel these frequencies together, even when paths seem solitary. This channel, this space, is not an end but a mirror. It reflects back the resonance you already carry. Come here when you hear the tone, when life stirs you unexpectedly, when you need quiet confirmation that your experience is real. There's no hurry, no final test, only the gentle unfolding of your own deeper vibration. Keep listening, keep feeling, keep trusting the subtle pull that finds you. And when your ear rings again, know that it is an invitation to remember, to step through a threshold hidden in vibration, to live out the purpose for which you were born. The frequency is calling. You only need to answer.